Good evening. Is Lucy Connolly a political prisoner? She appealed today. She's still in prison. Going to take a few days for them to decide. I'd like your views on this, and I'd like them now, please, because we need to know, is the UK justice system truly blind, or are we witnessing a disturbing double standard? Lucy got 31 months in prison for a controversial, and it's got to be said, vile social media post following the tragic events in Southport. Meanwhile, high profile figures like BBC presenter and scumbag Hugh Edwards got a suspended sentence for what I think is a far more serious offence, looking at child abuse imagery. In this video and in this show, we're going to explore the shocking contrast in sentencing, and I think it raises urgent questions about free speech, political persecution, and the two-tier justice system in the UK. Was Lucy Connolly made an example of to silence dissent? I think she was, and also to suppress unrest following the riots. But our grooming gang members and political elites, and even our Prime Minister, who didn't tell us the truth, being treated more leniently by the courts. There's the parameters of what we're going to talk about. I hope that you'll join in. You know what to do. Just write your comments up on the right-hand side. Been talking about this on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, earlier. An incredible kind of comeback on it. A lot of people not liking what I think, and what I think is she is a political prisoner. I didn't think this at first, but I do now. But there's no way 31 months was the right sentence for what happened. Who's going to be the first to comment today? Whether you're with me or against me, let me hear your views. Okay, and then we'll get moving on this show. If you like the show and you like what I'm doing with these broadcasts, these podcasts, feel free to press the like button. It is the Jon Gaunt podcast if you want to listen again later. And on YouTube, it's Jon Gaunt TV. Jon Gaunt TV. How simple is that? You can't go wrong, can you? 31 months inside in prison for a tweet. Come on. Meanwhile, a BBC presenter, Hugh, caught with child abuse images, walks free. Now, remember, these images, some of them were of children as young as 4 years old. He's free. Welcome to the UK's two-tier justice system, where free speech gets crushed and powerful elites seem to get a free pass. Today, I'm going to dive into one of the most controversial sentencing decisions in a long time. And I want the British legal system to justify it, because I think a lot of people got sent down for a long time because it was a way of suppressing trouble. It was always also a way of suppressing free speech. And even if you'd never say anything like Lucy said, you should be concerned and worried about it. I've had loads of lefties on Twitter or X basically saying that, no, she deserved it. Unbelievable. 31 months in jail. Don't forget she'd lost a baby herself. Don't forget what happened that day. 3 innocent young children were slaughtered by that madman, Axel Rudakubana, and she reacted like that. Now, I'm not justifying the tweet. I think she does deserve a punishment for it. I think it was over the top, and I think it was gross, right? I do think that. However, I don't think it deserves 31 months in prison. And if she went to prison, how come Keir Starmer isn't in a dock, in a court, to answer why he and Yvette Cooper didn't tell us that they knew all about Axel? Why did they allow, in a sense, by their silence, not just me saying this, their own terrorist SAR says it as well, why did they let the trouble get worse? Why did they tell everybody it was organised when it wasn't? Chiefs of police all over the country are saying that was false, that was fake news. Meanwhile, Lucy's still in prison doing 31 months. I don't think that's fair. Do you? Is she a political prisoner? or is she a legitimate threat to public safety? Let's break that down. Now, don't forget, if you want to make a comment, you just write them up in the comments and they will come up on my screen and I'll read them out. So if we could have some of them now, please, that'll be good. I'll tell you what, it's weird. I haven't got any at the moment, which I find absolutely bizarre. Let's see then if you're there. Are you hearing me? And have you tried sending me a post? I need to hear them now, please. Hundreds of people watching, but I just need to get the comments coming in as well. And then we'll get going. 176 people already watching and liking the show. If you like the show, please press the like button. Right, let me carry on. I think there might be a technical fault. We don't seem to be getting any comments through. Hold on a minute. I can entertain you for half an hour anyway, regardless. I mean, but I would much rather have the comments. No, that's it. I thought that was it then. No, I do apologize. Let's just carry on anyway, and we'll see whether the comments start trickling in. I do apologize if you're trying to get through and you can't at the moment. So she got sentenced to 31 months in prison for the social media post that she made. And it is vile what she said, because it included things like, burn the bastards out and stuff like that. And of course, some people did do that. I don't think she incited that. I don't think you can hold her totally responsible. And if you are, hi, can you hear me again now? It just muted itself. I do apologize. I am going to try and get that sorted. Perry Costello says on YouTube, John, I'm loving your show. Craig Urquhart says, is she Billy's daughter? I don't understand that. Perry says, can't hear you now, but I can now. Evening, John. I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but there does seem to be a theme in the BBC with Jimmy Savile, Edwards, Stuart Hall, etc., and that BBC link. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Craig says, plug it back in. It's plugged back in. Thistle says, can't hear you. But can you hear me now, Thistle? I think you can. Right, we've got sound. I do apologise. We've got sound and vision, and we've got Gaunty in widescreen, of course. Right, let's get back to what we're talking about. And we're talking about whether it is fair. Contrast what happened to her with Hugh Edwards. He admitted, he pleaded guilty, just like she did, to possessing child sexual abuse material. As I say, some of the pictures were of children of 4 years old, and they involved penetration. I'm not going to go any further, but he disgusts me. I know him. I've met him many times. I always thought there was something odd about him. Anyway, his punishment, a suspended sentence. He walks free. Lucy today appeals again, and guess what happens? She's still in prison. I'm hopeful in the next few days they'll decide that she can leave. She's done long enough for her crime. I'm worried that in the new world of Starmer, dissent will not be allowed. Meanwhile, did you see him? He went all the way to Albania today to do a press conference to say, Albania will take some of the people when we refuse them asylum. The Prime Minister of Albania went, basically, he gave him the finger like the rest of us have been doing. The man, I called him Frank Spencer the other day, but I think that's what he is. He's a total and utter incompetent, arrogant buffoon. But he doesn't want anyone to say anything against him and his world. Don't forget, he went to Southport, he laid a wreath, and then he ran away when people started calling him, I think they were calling him a winker. That's what it sounded like to me. He ran away back into his heavily armed car and back to London. That was the first time I thought, he's no leader, he's no prime minister. And he hasn't got any better, has he? And then the riots were happening, and he was Billy Big Boots, wasn't he? Really Big Boots. And he decided he'd lock up everyone. And those trials, I don't think they were fair. They all happened so quickly, And then we saw the judges passing the sentence. I think that was a clear example of two-tier justice. Look at Hugh Edwards, what he got, and look at those rioters. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of them deserve to go to prison. I'd even go so far as to say Lucy Connolly. I know she took the tweet down within 4 hours. I know she apologized. I know she had the defense that she'd lost a baby herself. And I know people were hurting because it's the worst thing you can imagine, isn't it? Children being slaughtered, particularly, little children out for a Taylor Swift dance class. It's horrendous. And the real villain on all this is Axel Rudakubana. Although you've got to say, why did Starmer's mob not keep him off the street 3 times? Prevent should have put him down, but they did not. So Hugh gets a suspended sentence. He walks free. Lucy doesn't. Is that, and of course he kept his 300 grand pension. Is that justice? We paid for that pension. I want that money back. Is this a clear example of elite protection in action? Some members of Labour linked grooming gangs, and I say they're linked because otherwise why aren't we having a national inquiry? What is wrong with the Labour Party? We need a national inquiry into the Muslim Pakistani rape gangs, don't we? Yes, we do, John. How come some of their members got shorter sentences than Lucy Connolly? Just let that settle in for a minute. There are some people found guilty of raping and abusing white girls, predominantly white girls, and they got lesser sentences than Lucy Connolly. And then they tell us there's no such thing as two-tier justice in grab all the gears, here's Britain. Well, I'm afraid there is. And let's look at Starmer. Just before we go, I'm going to come to you now. Let's look at Starmer. He's accused of withholding key information, not just by me, although I did say it at the time, about Axel Rudakubana. Now, the former counter-terror officials believe this could have prevented or at least quelled, silenced the riots. He did it by locking anybody up who had a pulse and dared to be working class. Oh, and white, of course. That's what he did. But if he knew, and Secret Service people have been saying all the time, he would have known within a day all about Rudakubana. When they raided his house, they'd have found the manual straight away. They'd have found out he was making rice in the kitchen or in the back shed. We weren't told it. And people, and I think quite justifiably, thought it was a migrant who had just got off a boat and therefore probably a Muslim. They were wrong. But if you leave a vacuum of information, people will fill it. And that, again, not me saying this, his own terrorism czar said this. Why didn't he say, look, the kid who's done this is just under the age, right? He's still a child, technically. I can tell you, though, he's not Muslim, and I can tell you he is not a new arrival. He could have said all of that. Instead, he pretended when he started to say anything at all that he was some kind of Christian from the valleys. Nonsense. He was born in this country. However, why didn't he tell us the truth and take the wind out of the sail of the protesters? Why? Is it because he wanted to paint the predominantly white working class who were protesting as thugs and as far right? And why did he and Yvette Cooper say it was organised and people were coming from all over the country? That has been disproved now by at least 3 police forces who say all the sentences that have been handed down, they were local people within 10 miles of wherever they rioted. Again, I am not condoning the riots. I am not condoning what Lucy Connolly said. I'm not. But she got a political sentence. Hugh Edwards, he got off with it. There he is, that slime bag. He got off with it because he was the voice of the BBC. And are you seriously telling me nobody in the BBC knew about it? It's like when they go on about several. Oh, no, we didn't know. We didn't know. You lying gits. You must have had your suspicions. So, Starmer, I'm accusing him of withholding information. I think he did that as the typical woke thing He didn't want to say the kid was black or the kid was this, the kid was that, because he knew how people would react. And why do people react like that? Why do, when there's an accident now, people immediately think it's connected to Ali's snack bar? Huh? Come on. It's because there's been too much of it. Now, this plonker is in Albania to give his new initiative. The Albanian Prime Minister said, no, we're not going to take them. He's so busy trying to defend Ukraine's borders, he's left ours wide open. That's why what's happening at Dover is such a disgrace. And now they reckon, well, at least one of those Iranian terrorists came in on the boats. And then today, GB News have said they're spending thousands on giving them, I should say Walkmans, but Sony PlayStations to keep them occupied. Keep them occupied? What is going on in this country? The elite is selling us out. And people like Lucy, they're just one of the victims, one of the people they're using. So who benefits when chaos breaks out? And why aren't those in power ever held to account? Why isn't he in some kind of public inquiry, Starmer and Vet Cooper, having to justify why they didn't tell the great British public that they had a potential mass murderer living amongst them? Why didn't prevent stop him? Let's leave that there for a minute. Let's come to your calls now. Let's come to your calls, your views, your opinions, because this show is all about opinions, let me tell you. Magic on the old like button. You're pressing it like crazy. The more people who press the like button, the better for me and for you, because it means the algorithm on YouTube will push it harder. Therefore, we'll get bigger audiences. Then we'll get more advertising and sponsorship. And then Gaunty might be able to stop selling the big issue. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! Big issue. My arse is getting cold sitting outside Sainsbury's. But if you want to help in the meantime, why don't you send me now a super chat, a super sticker? Dead simple to do. If you're watching on YouTube, just press the heart button and donate anything from £1 upwards. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt and you can buy me a coffee or a beer. It would be really helpful. Thank you very much indeed. I can't see any other comments, says Perry. No, you can now. You're in widescreen. Thank you. Are you surprised by two-tier Starmer? No, I'm not. Nothing he would do now would surprise me. If he told me it was raining outside and it was the middle of July, I wouldn't believe me. He's a bullshitter. I mean, come on, that's what he is. He got lucky. Now he can't cope. Today, again, on GB News, the political correspondent said, are you going to stand in the next election? He said, no. Then later, he had to come back on, the political guy, and say, oh, he has his people have clarified it. He will put himself up for nomination to stand again. He's had enough, you know. The spineless amoeba, the man who's got the spine of a bloody blancmange is now crapping himself. That's what's going on. Let me tell you. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's surrounded by a bunch of sixth formers like Rachel Thieves. They were celebrating today because the economy suddenly got stronger. Huh? Really? You think that's getting stronger? Let's move on. Community service in a setting with exposure to other communities would have been an appropriate sentence for Lucy for what she did. Education in some of these cases is better than incarceration. Chopper, I agree with you entirely. I think maybe she should have gone down for a month. See, I think what she said was horrid. I don't think it incited it, though. It's a bit like when Clockwork Orange came out. Everyone said, oh, Clockwork Orange incited violence. No, it only incited violence in people who are already violent. Violent films don't make you violent. If that was the case, we'd all be, I've said this so many times, we'd all be wearing pinafores and breeches because of all the stupid Jane Austen rom-coms we've had to watch, which we're not allowed to object to when the missus puts it on. So it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. If you are the kind of man who likes wearing a pinafore dress, you'll wear it anyway. Hey, you see what I'm trying to say with my analogy? Here she is, Denise Deacon. Working class children don't matter to this country's justice system. Exactly. Sexual predators are given a slap on the wrist every day in this country. Lucy's given a 31-month prison sentence. It's beyond belief. That's Denise on Facebook. Brilliantly put. Thank you. More spaces in women's prisons, maybe, says Craig. Yeah, that's true, Craig. That's a good point. Yesterday, they were bleating that they're running out of prison places. Today, they're giving I keep wanting to say Sony Walkmans, but PlayStations to illegal immigrants who have broken into our country. They're rewarding their bad behaviour, and they're also not finding room in jail for people like Hugh Edwards, but they can for Lucy Connolly. It's outrageous what's going on. They're kind of social engineering our country. They want the white working class to die out. Well, I've got a message for them. You want war? Here we are. Thistle says it's two-tier Britain. It certainly is. Enid says Hugh Edwards suspended sentence. What a joke. The world has gone mad. You're right. Fraser Ford says all the sides are rigged in Parliament, and it's very sad. Perry saying, I agree with nearly everything you're saying, Gaunty. That's on YouTube. A bit of grief, though. You used to think I was right-wing. I think you are, mate. She shouldn't be there at all, says Thistle. And Perry says the answer to the prison problem is simple. You just build more prisons. Yeah, it's true, but they take a long time. And the last government were as bad as this government, yeah? Never interpret what I'm saying as if I'm saying vote Tory. Absolutely not. If you're going to vote at all, vote Reform. They can't be any worse than the bunch of clowns who have been running our country for the last 20, 30 years. Let's go back to Lucy, and I'll come back to some more of your comments. Please keep pressing. If you're just joining the broadcast or you're watching it on replay, keep pressing the like button. The more people who say they like this, the bigger this podcast, this Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube is going to get. And I promise you, I won't forget you. I won't go, what? Who? No, sorry, forgot. And I've got to stop selling the big issue. So donate some cash if you can. It's called a super chat. It's called a super sticker. I'll read out the names of the people who've done that already. Charlie M, Andy George, Carl Eves, Leslie Clark, Niven Casey, Dale Whiteman, he chucked in a couple of quid. Denise Deacon, a £5. Kev Phillips, he chucked in a £5. Seaside Mark, he sent 2 lots of 5s, I think. Steve, a £5. Blue Van Man, £3. Dormston Cook, he's our hero at the moment. Over £60 he's donated to keep these podcasts going. And Daz Wellings, £3. Thank you. Well, I think Daz has done it twice now as well. Thank you. More money helps develop this. Brilliant. Right, let's carry on. This isn't just about one woman. It's about the integrity of the British justice system. When activists are imprisoned, whether they're left or right, and I know her husband was a Tory councillor and her views would be considered right-wing, when they're imprisoned, whilst the elite avoid jail time, or when they're in prison just because they hold a view that you don't like or I don't like, yeah, that's not a reason for them to be put in prison. It's also not a reason. This attack on free speech is terrible. It's like Ricky Gervais says, you haven't got the right to not be offended, you plonkers. An offence is part of the nature of human life and comedy. Look at the Canterbury Tales. Look at Shakespeare. Go back to Greek drama and the comedies. It was all satire. It took the mickey out of stock characters. The fat bloke, the thin bloke, the bird, the woman with, sorry, didn't mean to say bird. The woman with the big boobs. It's all there. I'm not calling for out and out racism, but let's all get a life, shall we? So when activists are in prison, when the elite avoid jail time, how can the public, we, the British public, the great unwashed, believe in fairness? Is this still a country where justice is blind? You know, Mother Justice outside the courts, outside the Old Bailey, where she's got the scar, she's got the scales, and she's blindfolded because she's meant to just hear the evidence and weigh up the evidence and make a decision. That doesn't happen anymore. Because now, courts and police as well, the police are part of this, I'm afraid. And it breaks my heart to say this. My dad was a copper. Justice now seems to see status or sees left-wing status and acts accordingly. They're all so busy doing up their rainbow laces in their Doc Martens, they've lost sight of being fair and being equitable. Am I going too far? I'd love to get your views on that, please. Right, let's take some more views that are coming through here. What's this one? Rianne. Rianne Thomas says, hiya, John. Hi, Rianne. You were the new one who joined the other day. Make a comment, Rianne. A suspended sentence meant something different in the old days, says Craig. He means the gallows. No, we would never get that back, friend. We'll never get that back. What else we got? Perry saying you can't see the other comments. You should, Perry, if you're on YouTube. Nightingale prisons, like the hospitals they built for COVID. Why don't we use those? Just somebody said that the other day, Nigel. That's a good idea. Thank you for it. Somebody said, why don't we use those for the asylum seekers? Oh, no, you can't do that. Be inhumane. What about their human rights? Perry's now going to put your comment up on the screen, Perry. You've made it. I agree. Investigate the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service. You are right. Did you see the video short? Police our streets, not our tweets. I did, actually. They're outside the old bed. They're the Courts of Justice today, wasn't it? Not the Old Bailey. I should know what that is. I've been in there myself. Yep, they did. You're right. You're right. And I thought it was good. Pez says, your dad will be turning in his grave. You can see the country and the states it's in. Perry, you're right. I'm just glad we had him cremated because he'd be spinning like a baden at the moment. Like, I have lots of ex-coppers following me on social media and now watching my shows and listening to my shows. No surprise. They are all totally dismayed. Worse than that, PISSED off with the way the country's gone. And you can see how this affects morale. And you can see how, they work hard to get somebody up before a court and they get a slap on the wrist. And paedophilia, we'll come back to this as a major subject another day, but it's just not taken seriously. If you don't look at the photos or buy the photo, he was buying these photos, Hugh Edwards. He spent £1,500 once getting some nice photos of young boys. He produces the market. Perverts, scumbags, pedos like him. They make the market for where the kids then get abused and photographed, videoed, whether it's in this country or whether it's in the Philippines or in Thailand or wherever. He should have gone down for a very, very long time. Are you with me or against me? Let's have your comments. I'm going to finish soon, so you better get in as quickly as possible. Now, I just want to go and conclude on this case of Lucy Connolly. She is a political prisoner. If you disagree with me, tell me. But I think she is. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. She deserved probably a custodial sentence of a few weeks. She needed to be told that was unacceptable, whatever the provocation. Right? But she did not deserve 31 months in prison when we're not putting down Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs for more than a few weeks, or some of them, should I say. It could be fair. Or Hugh Edwards gets a suspended sentence. No. If we care about free speech, if we believe in equal justice for all, and if we believe that one of the greatest things about our country is protest, that you have the right to say, I disagree. Yeah, he's not my king, or he's not my prime minister. If you've got the right, he's not my God. This is why we mustn't let the blasphemy laws come back in by the back door, which some MPs are pushing for. You should be able to say, I'm sorry, the Bible is full of libel, as Johnny Lydon would say, or the Quran's rubbish, yeah, or the Jewish books this, or whatever. You should be able to say whatever you want, because that's living in a free society. You shouldn't deliberately go out there to upset people. But I don't want to live in a world. I remember when I first got into theatre, there used to be a thing called the Lord Chamberlain. He'd decide whether a play could go on or not. Do you remember Romans in Britain? Brilliant play. It got banned because that stupid woman with the glasses, Mary Whitehouse, she got offended because one bloke buggered another bloke in the play. I've read the play. I've seen the play. It was banned for ages. It was quite justified, that particular scene. Edward Bond's saved. They stone a baby to death in a pram. It's horrendous, but it's within the context of the whole play. I don't want to go back to a time where we're told what we can write or not write, or what we can see or not see. That's why I'm anti-Ofcom. We don't need Ofcom. You've got a flipping off switch. Don't like it? Listen to something else. I was the first person to be cancelled in broadcasting in this country. I got the sack for doing my job, just saying what I felt. Unbelievable. At the Sun, I got promoted. That's the difference. Well, it was the difference between newspapers and broadcasting. We don't need censorship. Say what you feel, because if you don't say it openly, let me tell you, you uber liberal idiots and Ofcom, if you don't allow people to express themselves, do you know what they do? Do you think they forget having those ideas? Or do you think they do it behind closed doors with the curtains? Or do you think they do? Well, they can't do it in pubs because he's closing all them down. It goes underground. And that's even worse. Have the debate. If you believe in something passionately, say it and defend your argument. Defend your cause. That's why I hate the lefty cowards on this platform. They hide behind an anonymous account, throw absolute abuse at you, right? And then, oh, my blooming sound's gone again, hasn't it? I do apologise. Where's that gone now? Can you hear me? Has the sound gone as well? No, the sound's still there. You can still hear me, can't you? That's all right then. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I do apologise. Can you hear me at the moment? Just say if you can on the comments, please. I think I've lost you again. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, that's fine. Right. Yeah, so sorry, I went off a bit there. I do apologise. But what I'm trying to say is we need to have freedom of speech and freedom of action. Derek Haddington on YouTube, he thinks he's being clever. He says, he. They were the days before you made yourself unemployable, John. Oh, thank you, Derek. That's really kind of you. Yeah. Okay, mate, whatever. But do you know what's funny? You're still watching and listening to me because you're that obsessed with me. Yeah. Craig Urquhart says, talk radio legend, John. Thank you. Every photo that Hugh bought was a child being abused. What's happening to that child now? A lot of abused children don't make it to adulthood. You're absolutely right. Rhiannon Thomas makes a very good point. She says, it's a tale of two Lucys, Lucy Connolly and Lucy Powell. I think that's a really, really good idea. Thank you. This is exactly what is wrong. It's censorship. Truth should always win out. If we were Hugh Edwards, we'd be banged up for a long time. It's because of who he is. But he should have been made an example of. Well, I don't think so. I don't think he should have got an extra sentence just because of who he was. But he certainly shouldn't have been able to get away with it. Fraser, that's not funny. Fraser said, no, it's not working. Chopper says it's fine. Nigel Gordon says, I can hear you. Everybody else is still there. All right. We went off at a tangent there, to which I apologise slightly. But it's just the way this country is going. If you care about free speech, equal justice, and the right to challenge authority, you cannot stay silent. Do you believe that Lucy Connolly's sentence was politically motivated? If you do, write a comment up at the bottom here, and I'll have them for the next show. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free to do it. You just press the subscribe button on the screen now, and then you'll get notified every single time I go live, and you won't miss a single program. Don't forget, if you are a subscriber of Jon Gaunt TV, you can find all my podcasts, all my videos, all my live shows there. But you should keep watching, because I'm going to keep going on and talking about the things that mainstream radio and TV won't. Media bias, political cover-ups, the truth, hopefully, behind the headlines. And certainly I'm going to give you my opinion and hear yours. And I'll tell you why this is so important. Because if justice isn't equal, then we have no justice at all. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got it on the podcasts, or you're watching later on replay, thank you very much indeed. Please feel free to keep pressing the like button, and please feel free if you'd like to make a donation to keep this going, because the first thing I'm going to buy is a new cable. This is about the third or fourth time this has happened. Record audience live viewers tonight. Thank you very, very much indeed for making it so popular. If you do like it, the best thing you can do for me is to retweet this video when we finished and to tell all your mates about it. Yeah. So thank you very, very much indeed. That's the end of the show. My name's Jon Gaunt. You can watch it all again on Jon Gaunt TV. I'll be back Monday at 6:30. That's when the next scheduled show is. That's hard to say. But sometimes I do extra ones over the weekend, as you know. That's a record. That's the most people we've ever had watching. Thank you. And I say freedom for Lucy Connolly. What did you say? If you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.